In the cool embrace of the night, under a canvas painted with stars, Jane treads softly through the sleeping village. Her heart, a battleground of maternal love and deep despair, throbbed painfully as she clutched the most precious bundle she would ever hold, her newborn daughter, Favor. Wrapped in a soft blue blanket that had been her own as a baby, Favor was oblivious to the gravity of the moment. Reaching the deserted marketplace, Jane hesitated beside a stack of wooden crates that had seen better days. The crates, like silent sentinels, stood witness to what would come next. Her hands trembled as she gently placed Favor down. Despite the tranquility of the night, Jane's inner turmoil roared louder than any storm. "Favor, my heart," Jane whispered, the tears flowing freely now. "This world is not kind. I wish things could be different. Forgive me." With a final kiss that lingered a heartbeat too long, Jane stood, her silhouette a dark shadow against the moonlit ground. She walked away, each step a crack in the foundation of her world. As dawn kissed the horizon, painting it with strokes of hope, the marketplace began to stir. Mrs. Wendy, known to the villagers as the eccentric for her unconventional ways and disheveled appearance, was already about her morning wanderings. Her eyes, sharp and perceptive beneath her tangled locks, immediately noticed the out-of-place bundle by the crates. Unwrapping the blanket, Mrs. Wendy's heart sank and then filled with a fierce protectiveness as she saw the infant. Her instincts told her this child was special, and her actions followed her heart without hesitation. "Oh, my precious one, the world may have been unkind to you so far, but I will shield you," she declared, her voice a soft vow in the quiet morning. Mrs. Wendy, with no family of her own but a vast reservoir of love, embraced the role of protector and guardian. She named the baby Favor, unaware that she was preserving the name her mother had given her, an act of fate's quiet alignment. Back in her modest hut on the outskirts of the village, Mrs. Wendy used every bit of knowledge she had about herbs and old remedies to care for Favor. Despite the baby's sickle cell condition, Favor grew stronger under her watch. Her laughter became a melody that filled the spaces of Mrs. Wendy's simple home, turning it into a place of joy and hope. As the years unfolded, their bond deepened, marked by moments of joyous celebration and quiet understanding. Favor's 5th birthday approached, and with it came a realization for Mrs. Wendy. Despite her deep love and best efforts, she knew Favor needed more, opportunities that lay beyond the confines of their village life. Determined to give Favor the life she deserved, Mrs. Wendy made a plan filled with hope and heartache. They traveled to the neighboring town, known for its prosperous community and generous inhabitants. The grandest house in town belonged to Mr. Charles, a man famed for his philanthropy and kindness. In the early dawn, with Favor's hand clutched tightly in hers, Mrs. Wendy approached the imposing iron gates of Mr. Charles's estate. With tears blurring her vision, she pinned a note to Favor's dress, a simple message born out of desperate hope. "Please take care of her as I have. She is a child of great promise." Kissing Favor goodbye, Mrs. Wendy whispered a prayer, her heart heavy with sorrow and hope. She watched from a distance as the morning sun began to illuminate the estate, casting long shadows and bathing Favor in a soft glow. Turning away before she could change her mind, Mrs. Wendy disappeared into the morning mist, her steps echoing softly on the cobblestone path. Mr. Charles and his wife Alice discovered Favor as they stepped outside to enjoy the morning air. Moved by the heartfelt note and the child's serene expression, they felt a profound connection and responsibility to her. After ensuring no immediate danger or deception was involved, their initial caution transformed into a deep affection. They formally adopted Favor, integrating her into their family with all the legal and loving provisions possible. Under their care, Favor thrived, her health stabilized, and her life blossomed with new possibilities. She excelled in her studies, her natural intelligence nurtured by her new environment, and her charm and kindness endeared her to everyone she met. As she grew, Favor often pondered about the mysterious Mrs. Wendy, whose decision had altered the course of her life. Now, as she prepared to leave for university, her heart was filled with gratitude and curiosity about the woman who had first saved her. University life opened a new chapter for Favor. There, she met Richard, a fellow student whose sincerity and intelligence captivated her. What started as a friendship soon blossomed into love, each moment together weaving a deeper connection. When Favor found out she was pregnant, their joy was palpable, and Richard, ever supportive, suggested it was time to meet his parents. With hearts full of hope and nerves slightly frayed, they traveled to meet Richard's family, unaware of the dramatic turn their lives were about to take. The journey to Richard's family estate was filled with anticipatory laughter and nervous glances exchanged between Favor and Richard. Favor, who had meticulously chosen her outfit to make a good impression, felt the flutter of butterflies in her stomach as they approached the grand, ivy-covered facade of the Hunt family home. Richard's father, George, greeted them with a booming voice and a bear hug that enveloped Favor, immediately setting her at ease with his open warmth. "Welcome, Favor. Richard hasn't stopped talking about you," he chuckled, leading them into the opulent living room adorned with portraits and plush furnishings. The mood shifted dramatically when Helen, Richard's mother, entered. She was a vision of elegance, her every movement refined. Yet, as her eyes met Favor's, a sharp intake of breath cut through the pleasantries. Helen's eyes locked onto a small, crescent-shaped scar on Favor's forehead, a scar Favor had never thought significant. It was a relic of her early childhood, one that Mama Wendy had told her resulted from a minor fall. In that moment, the room seemed to spin as Helen staggered, her face blanching, before she crumpled to the floor in a faint. Chaos ensued as Richard and George rushed to her side, their voices a blend of concern and confusion. Once revived, Helen's gaze fixed on Favor with an intensity that made the air feel heavy. "That scar," she whispered, her voice trembling. You can't be my Favor?" The revelation that followed was a torrent that swept through the room, leaving a path of shock in its wake. 20 years ago, Helen explained, heartbreak had led her to leave her newborn daughter at a marketplace, praying someone would give her the life she could not. She recounted the unbearable pain of that decision, driven by a dire medical prognosis and economic desperation. The scar, caused by a small accident just days before her abandonment, had haunted Helen, a permanent reminder of the daughter she had lost. As Helen's story unfolded, Favor's world unraveled. Tears streamed down her cheeks as the reality of their connection dawned on her. Richard, the man she loved, the father of her unborn child, was her brother. The days that followed were filled with a complex tapestry of emotions, grief, disbelief, and a profound confusion that clouded Favor's heart. Richard and Favor, faced with an unimaginable truth, grappled with the implications of their relationship. The love they shared, once a source of strength, now felt like an insurmountable barrier. Amidst this turmoil, the family sought the guidance of cultural elders, who prescribed a ritual cleansing to address the spiritual and communal repercussions of their unintended union. This process, deeply rooted in tradition, was both a cleansing and a symbolic reintegration of Favor into the family, not as Richard's partner, but as his sister. As the ritual neared, Favor found herself withdrawing into a cocoon of introspection. The love she felt for Richard took on a new form, transforming from romantic attachment to a profound, familial bond. Helen, too, was a constant presence, her earlier absence now replaced with a desperate need to forge a connection with the daughter she thought she'd lost forever. The cleansing ceremony was a poignant event, attended by whispering winds and the soft light of dawn. As Favor and Richard stood side by side, not as lovers but as siblings, the elder chanted prayers, sprinkling them with water that glistened in the early morning sun. It was a moment of rebirth for both, a painful yet necessary end to one chapter and the hesitant beginning of another. Years had passed since the revelations that had reshaped the lives of Favor and the Hunt family. The large estate, once the backdrop for a tumultuous discovery, had transformed into a sanctuary of healing and new beginnings. Favor, now a devoted mother to a vibrant little girl named Hope, lived in a quaint cottage on the family grounds. Her daughter, with curly hair and an infectious laugh, was the embodiment of resilience and joy, traits she had undoubtedly inherited from her mother. Helen, whose initial approach to reconnect had been cautious and ridden with guilt, now played an active role in both Favor's and Hope's lives. Their relationship, once marred by a painful history, had bloomed slowly but genuinely, fortified by shared experiences and a commitment to move forward. Richard, who had struggled with the transformation of his feelings for Favor, found solace in his role as an uncle. He was a constant figure in Hope's adventures around the estate, teaching her about the stars and sharing stories of their family's legacy of resilience. The family had learned to navigate their complex dynamics with a grace that came from deep understanding and forgiveness. Annual gatherings were now a celebration of their unity and strength, a testament to their journey from darkness into light. As Favor watched Hope play under the shade of an old oak tree, her heart swelled with pride and peace. The scars of the past still lingered, but they had become marks of survival, symbols of a woman who had faced unimaginable truths and emerged stronger. The Hunt estate, once a symbol of hidden pain, now thrived as a beacon of hope and transformation. Through the trials, Favor had found not just forgiveness but a deeper sense of belonging and purpose. Her story, a tapestry woven with threads of pain, love, and redemption, would be a legacy passed down through generations, a narrative of overcoming the shadows of the past to embrace the light of a new dawn.